Good morning, everybody. This is Gleason with MajorLeagueTrading.com coming at you with your morning trade plan. It is Tuesday, February 5th, 2019, and this is a reminder to follow your rules and trade your plan. For economic reports tonight, we have the State of the Union address, and then Jerome Powell will be speaking at 7 p.m. as well. So after the bell, we got a couple of big events. Before the bell last night, we had 4:30 a.m. Great Britain Services PMI. There was also some news out of the Australian dollar. After the bell opens, 9:45 Market Services PMI, 10 a.m. ISM non-manufacturing PMI, 1 p.m. 3-year note auction, 4:30 API crude oil stock, and then, of course, the State of the Union. Trend bias of the prior day, guys. All bullish. ES, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, bullish. Overnight, bullish in the S&P, neutral NASDAQ, bullish in the Dow and the Russell. On the shorter term time frame, bullish ES, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell. Mid-term time frame, same thing. And on the longer term time frame, the NASDAQ has flipped bullish, but the other three markets do remain neutral. Yesterday after the bell, we had Google and Google earnings. So those were kind of the big numbers that affected the NASDAQ and gave it its neutral overnight range. There's nothing extremely important the rest of the week, but obviously there will continue to be news events related to earnings before and after the bell. And you can check out all of those here. I'm not going to read through them because I don't really trade stocks, but you can check them all out right here. For the previous day's summary in the S&P 500, guys, let's pull this up. You had the bell to bell high at 27.24, bell to bell low all the way down at 26.97. Settlement was 26.21 quarter, and Valuria high was 27.1875. Valuria low 27.0175. With the point of control at 27.17 half. European 27.0975, and the volume on the session pretty light, 988,000 contracts. Overnight high 27.28 quarter. The overnight low down here at 27.16 quarter. Floor trader pivot point support and resistance levels are for A 27.75 quarter, R3 27.58 quarter, R2 27.41, R1 27.31 quarter. The pivot point comes in at 27.14. S1 is 27.04 quarter, S2 26.87, S3 26.77 quarter, and S4A down at 26.67 quarter. For our just minimize a screen and it went nowhere. For our 10-day range analysis, the previous day 27-point range, the entire session was 28. Overnight 11.25, first hour 9.75. So below our medians except the bell-to-bell trading session. Continue to contract up here, and that was pretty light volume. Strongest market of the prior day was the Russell, followed by the NASDAQ. The S&P was relatively the weakest market over a 5-day period. The NASDAQ is up 3.5%, S&P up 3%, Dow 2.9%, Russell 2.87%, and then that's a better performance than over the last 10 days. So let's take a look here at these indexes. Volatility still remains pretty aggressive to both sides, and I apologize once again if my connection hopefully will be fixed tomorrow, so I don't know how it's coming through today. Let's take a look here at the S&P 500. We're holding a really aggressive extension sequence, and if this breaks, we're due for a larger pullback. So I'm going to go to the 30-day hourly chart. We had the extension from the high of the 18th to high trade, and the first time that anchor traded, we're actually right now using a 2708 high to high sequence. And that's a really aggressive extension sequence. If we break back below the 61.8, then I will anticipate a full pullback into the extension just below that. So that would be 27.0875 if we start breaking below 27.13. Okay, and then 27.0275 is that 50% retracement. Right now we've come one tick away from completing this negative 23% profit target. When we do trade 27.29, the same anchor new high will be the valid sequence, and then technically if we trade back below 27.15 half, then we should get down to 27.08. So that's what I'll be looking for, either one tick move higher, draw the same anchor new high sequence, and then participation on that sequence if it breaks the support level below. For the Russell had the extension from the 18th like the rest of the markets, and we have just completely blasted through those targets here. So I'm using the high of Friday to high as an extension anchor, and we have not even traded that. We could not even pull back to that level. So I would like to see a pullback to 1516.1 to 1514.4. I'm gonna move up some of these alerts, but we are just floating away here, guys. It's just, I'm gonna go out to a daily chart. Come on, load. All right, I really just want to mark up the beginning of the sell-off, which is like 1541. We should just continue to float up to this higher time frame negative 61 at 1548, and the ranges are getting small here, but they're still pretty bullish. I mean, bulls just continue to win. Pullbacks are shallow, and there's been, I mean, look at this chart. There's not, I'm gonna actually get rid of the extended session. I don't know if we have a single, there's leg start there. There's very few leg starts to the downside since we broke out last Tuesday. We just continue to drift higher. Here. So play the bulls until they fail. For oil's starting to get a little bit tricky in this range because what it is a range. So I was looking at resistance at 55.38. We never really got there. Instead, the 55.20. So I'm just, going back. For whatever reason, this is where we broke down and out of on Monday. This acted as resistance, and then we traded back to the bottom of the range. But this is getting pretty rangy here in oil. It's getting pretty rangy here. You do have that oil inventory report today. I'm just going to continue to watch like the 53.35. I would not take a position into the oil report, and then just the top side of this range. But if oil breaks down and through this support level, the only thing I'd really look at below is 52.41 and then 51.38, which would line up with the lows here. 51.30. But the oil probably going to stay away from, outside of maybe like a scalp here or there after report. Everything here in oil is on the really shorter time frame. Like we broke down right out of highs. Okay, then there's an extension that trades a target, same anchor, new low. So you can leave that up. We are right now targeting into 53.54 in oil. So you just have to follow the smaller time frame sequences that come out of these higher time frame resistance levels. It's kind of tricky. The Nasdaq was looking for this extension to trade for the high of the 18th to high. It was front run. We never traded it. the level would have been 69.23. We traded 69.30 half, and we're catching a bid here. And yesterday Google sold off pretty aggressively. So I will continue to respect this extension. As long as we stay above these levels, guys, we're going to continue to go up. The negative 61.8% profit target is 70.85. And it's probably where the Nasdaq's going up. It's 70.85 before finding any major resistance. It's going to continue to gun towards that. For the Dow, there was the extension from the high of Tuesday last week to high. That blew through profit targets at the close, and we held an extension to extension there. That's pretty aggressive. Officially with that completion, same anchor new high is valid, and 25,211 is the first viable pullback. I actually really like that setup. Now, if that does not hold, we will most likely go down into the extension from 24,830. There's a separate extension there. There's a separate extension here with a whole different set of buyers. So I'm going to mark up those levels, 25,120, 25,065. But I actually really like this Dow better than the rest of the indexes. The reason I use the extension high of Friday is because this is a traditional measure move that blew out. So actually there you had the extension from the 25th to high here that completed profit targets. So we go extension to extension. This is what I cover in the Fib course, Trevor. But you go extension, blows out of targets to extension. So I'm actually going to highlight that zone. Alright. But yeah, guys, bullish sequences into the open. There's a couple of levels of pullbacks that I'm really looking for. The only other thing I didn't go over yet is gold. And gold continues to hold the 15.8 support level here. Continues to hold it. We've got a nice bid out of this. Got above a little bit of a swing high. As long as we continue to hold this, guys, we have higher targets at 1338. And as far as an entry goes, a new one. Let me try to load this chart. Let's see here. I would just look at the full 50% retracement from the low of the day to high, 1317.9 on a first test only. But Nasdaq's making up all its ground lost, and we have basically going to be gapping up, completing sequences. Indexes do remain bullish here. Indexes do remain bullish here. I'm going to be patiently waiting for some pullbacks in the morning because we're up towards the higher end of the range, and so I'm going to be looking for us to pull back, watching oil into the inventory report, looking at the gold on the continuation. But that's all I have for my morning trade plan. I'll share my levels with you guys in the Major League Trading Morning Discord. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're interested in learning about trading or getting funded through our partners, make sure to check out the MLT Pro Trader course. Everybody have a fantastic day and take care.